We love to dissect strategy. We pore over policy documents. We analyze every move on the global chessboard. But what if the key to understanding leadership lies not in the plan, but in the man? What if the most potent weapon or the most dangerous flaw resides not in a nation's arsenal, but in the mind of its leader? This is the question we must confront as we navigate an increasingly complex world. History is littered with examples of brilliant strategists who stumbled, not because their plans were flawed, but because their minds were. The annals of power are filled with tales of hubris, paranoia, and unchecked ambition, traits that can derail even the most carefully crafted strategies. We see it in the impulsive decisions, the miscalculations, the moments when reason seems to take a back seat to something darker, something hidden beneath the surface of carefully constructed public personas. To understand leadership, we must delve into the psychological depths of those who wield it. We must move beyond the simplistic narratives of good versus evil, strong versus weak. We must grapple with the complex reality that the human mind, even in its most brilliant iterations, is a fragile thing, susceptible to the pressures of power, the burdens of responsibility, and the insidious whispers of fear and doubt. Only then can we truly grasp the forces that shape our world. The past offers a stark reminder of the human frailties that can undermine leadership. Napoleon, a military genius, saw his empire crumble under the weight of his own hubris. His insatiable ambition, once a driving force, became his undoing, leading him to overextend his reach and ultimately face defeat. Similarly, Hitler's paranoia and megalomania, evident in his later years, transformed him from a shrewd strategist into a tyrant who dragged his nation into ruin. These historical figures serve as cautionary tales, illustrating the dangers of unchecked psychological vulnerabilities. Their stories underscore the need to consider the mental and emotional state of leaders, not just their strategic acumen. While historical analysis can be fraught with speculation, it's clear that personal biases, deep-seated insecurities, and unchecked emotions can warp decision-making, even at the highest levels of power. The lessons of history are not confined to the distant past. In more recent times, we've witnessed leaders succumb to the pressures of office, their judgment clouded by stress, isolation, or the intoxicating effects of unchecked power. Richard Nixon, a president with undeniable political talent, saw his legacy tarnished by the Watergate scandal, a product of paranoia and a siege mentality that took root in the Oval Office. These modern examples further emphasize the crucial link between psychological well-being and effective leadership. Contemporary leaders offer a fascinating case study in the interplay of psychology and power. Joe Biden, known for his empathy and ability to connect with people, has faced questions about his age and cognitive acuity. While his experience and deep understanding of policy are undeniable assets, his ability to withstand the grueling demands of the presidency has been subject to scrutiny. Vladimir Putin, a master strategist and tactician, projects an image of icy control. Yet his actions in Ukraine suggest a degree of risk-taking and aggression that has surprised many observers. Some analysts point to a possible shift in his psychological makeup, perhaps fueled by a sense of historical grievance or a growing detachment from reality. Narendra Modi, a charismatic leader who rose from humble beginnings, has been praised for his decisiveness and vision. However, critics argue that his strongman persona masks a tendency towards authoritarianism and a willingness to silence dissent. These three leaders, each with their own distinct psychological profiles, demonstrate the complex ways in which individual traits can shape global events. The burdens of leadership are immense. The weight of millions of lives, the responsibility for decisions with global repercussions, the constant scrutiny of the public eye. All of these factors take a toll on even the most resilient individuals. The stress of leadership can manifest in various ways, from sleep deprivation and anxiety to more serious mental health issues. Studies have shown that prolonged exposure to stress can impair cognitive function, affecting decision-making, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. Under duress, leaders may become more impulsive, more rigid in their thinking, or more susceptible to confirmation bias, clinging to pre-existing beliefs even in the face of contradictory evidence. The impact of stress on leadership is not always negative. Some individuals thrive under pressure, their focus sharpening, their resolve solidifying in the face of adversity. However, for others, stress can be a debilitating force leading to burnout, errors in judgment, and a decline in overall effectiveness. Recognizing the psychological impact of leadership is crucial for understanding how leaders respond to crises, navigate complex challenges, and ultimately shape the course of history. Power, like any potent force, can be intoxicating. It can warp perceptions, inflate egos, and erode the very qualities that make a leader effective. The adage "power corrupts," and absolute power corrupts absolutely holds a chilling truth, as history has repeatedly demonstrated. When leaders are unchecked, when their decisions are unquestioned, when they exist in a bubble of sycophants and yes-men, the potential for abuse and disastrous missteps grows exponentially. The dangers of unchecked power are not limited to dictators or authoritarian regimes. Even in democratic systems, leaders can become insulated from reality, their judgment clouded by a sense of infallibility. The Watergate scandal, a prime example of power's corrupting influence, unfolded in the heart of American democracy, demonstrating that no system is immune to the psychological pitfalls of unchecked power. The antidote to the corrupting influence of power lies in accountability, transparency, and a healthy dose of self-awareness. Leaders must surround themselves with advisors who are willing to challenge their assumptions, question their decisions, and provide honest feedback. They must remain connected to the people they serve, understanding the real-world consequences of their actions. Most importantly, they must cultivate a sense of humility, recognizing that power is a privilege, not a birthright, and that it can be easily lost if wielded recklessly. In the age of social media and 24/7 news cycles, leaders are constantly performing, crafting carefully curated public personas designed to project strength, confidence, and unwavering resolve. But behind the mask, behind the carefully scripted speeches and photo ops, lies the inner psyche of the individual, a realm of complex emotions, hidden vulnerabilities, and personal struggles that rarely see the light of day. The disconnect between public persona and inner psyche can be a source of immense pressure, leading to a sense of inauthenticity and a constant fear of exposure. Leaders may feel compelled to maintain a facade of invincibility, suppressing their true feelings and burying their doubts beneath a veneer of manufactured confidence. This can create a dangerous chasm between the leader and the led, fostering distrust and undermining the leader's ability to connect with the people they represent. Bridging the gap between public persona and inner psyche requires vulnerability, authenticity, and a willingness to acknowledge human fallibility. Leaders who are willing to show their human side, to admit their mistakes, and to connect with their constituents on an emotional level can build trust and foster a sense of shared humanity. In a world increasingly dominated by carefully constructed images and curated narratives, authenticity has become a rare and valuable commodity, a quality that can set leaders apart and forge genuine connections with those they lead. The psychological dynamics of leadership play out differently across cultures. What is considered strong leadership in one society may be perceived as weakness in another. Cultural norms, historical context, and societal expectations all shape how leadership is understood, exercised, and evaluated. A leader's effectiveness is not solely determined by their individual traits, but also by how those traits are perceived and interpreted within their specific cultural context. In some cultures, a more authoritarian style of leadership, characterized by decisiveness and a top-down approach, may be seen as effective and even desirable. In other cultures, a more collaborative and consensus-driven approach may be preferred, with leaders expected to consult widely and build consensus before making decisions. Understanding these cultural nuances is crucial for navigating international relations, building alliances, and fostering cooperation on a global scale. The global stage demands a nuanced understanding of leadership, one that goes beyond simplistic stereotypes and recognizes the complex interplay of individual psychology, cultural context, and historical legacy. Leaders who can navigate this complex terrain, who can adapt their approach to different cultural norms and expectations, are best positioned to build bridges, foster understanding, and address the pressing challenges facing our interconnected world. Our current methods for selecting leaders are woefully inadequate. We focus on resumes, experience, and policy positions, neglecting the crucial element of psychological fitness. We elect individuals based on their ability to deliver rousing speeches, navigate political machinations, and project an image of strength and competence, but we fail to adequately assess their mental and emotional resilience, their capacity for empathy, their ability to handle the immense pressures of leadership. This oversight has real-world consequences. We've seen leaders crumble under pressure, their judgment clouded by stress, their decisions driven by ego or insecurity. We've witnessed the devastating impact of unchecked power, the erosion of trust, and the rise of cynicism and disillusionment. It's time to rethink our approach to leadership selection, to move beyond superficial criteria and delve into the psychological depths of those who aspire to lead. In his book, The Despot's Apprentice, Brian Klaas argues for psychological screening of leaders, a radical but increasingly necessary step to safeguard against the dangers of unchecked power and ensure that those who wield authority possess the mental and emotional fortitude to do so responsibly. While such measures may seem intrusive, the potential benefits far outweigh the concerns. In a world facing unprecedented challenges, we can no longer afford to ignore the psychological dimension of leadership. The idea of psychologically profiling leaders is not without its challenges. The human mind is a complex and ever-evolving entity, and predicting behavior with absolute certainty is impossible. However, advances in psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral analysis offer valuable tools for assessing personality traits, identifying potential vulnerabilities, and gauging an individual's capacity for emotional regulation, empathy, and ethical decision-making. While psychological profiling should never be used as a sole determinant of leadership suitability, it can provide valuable insights that complement traditional selection methods. By combining in-depth interviews, personality assessments, and behavioral analysis, we can gain a more comprehensive understanding of a leader's psychological makeup, their strengths, their weaknesses, and their potential for growth and development. The science of psychological profiling is still evolving, and ethical considerations must be carefully addressed to ensure that such assessments are used responsibly and without prejudice. However, the potential benefits of incorporating psychological insights into leadership selection are undeniable. By acknowledging the crucial role of the mind in shaping leadership outcomes, we can move towards a more informed and nuanced approach to identifying and developing effective leaders. The world needs leaders who are not only intelligent and experienced, but also psychologically robust, empathetic, and ethically grounded. We need leaders who can withstand the pressures of office, navigate complexity with wisdom and compassion, and make decisions that prioritize the well-being of their constituents and the future of our planet. To cultivate such leaders, we must embrace a more holistic understanding of leadership, one that recognizes the inextricable link between the mind and the exercise of power. This requires a fundamental shift in our thinking, a move away from simplistic notions of leadership as a purely rational endeavor, and towards a deeper appreciation for the psychological complexities that underpin effective decision-making, ethical conduct, and the ability to inspire and unite. We must invest in research, develop new tools for assessing psychological fitness, and integrate these insights into our leadership selection and development processes. The stakes are high. In a world grappling with climate change, geopolitical instability, and social divisions, we need leaders who are not only equipped to address these challenges, but also psychologically prepared to navigate the complexities of the human experience. By embracing a more psychologically informed approach to leadership, we can cultivate a new generation of leaders who are not only skilled strategists and policymakers, but also compassionate, resilient, and ethically grounded individuals capable of guiding us towards a more just and sustainable future.